Steve was about to deliver a love letter to his crush. Suddenly, a construction worker slipped. A steel rebar pierced Steve's head, yet he remained expressionless. Snow and the others rushed over, crying. Unexpectedly, Steve was fine. He didn't even feel much. Then he picked up the love letter in his hand. Thinking someone had given it to him, he began reading the love letter aloud. His friends worried about Steve's mental state. Steve was happy someone had a crush on him. He declared he would be the first among them to get a girlfriend. Then he skipped happily away. They went to the cafeteria to eat. Snow and the others looked at Steve with concern. Steve said his secret admirer rode very well. Barry wanted to pull out the rebar. Snow refused, because that would break Steve's heart. Steve suddenly noticed today's food tasted metallic. Snow said that was perfectly normal, because there was a melted lucky coin in the cornflakes. Steve dismissed his concern. Snow repeated that this was perfectly normal.
Normal's the word of the day here.
Then came the spring fling dance. Steve waited for the person who wrote the love letter. Snow said Steve would break down if no one showed up. Barry had an idea. He suggested they also impale themselves with rebar. Then they'd think someone had a crush on them too. Snow reluctantly decided to tell Steve the truth. He told Steve the truth. Steve thought the rebar in his head had made him forget, then realized he was his own admirer. Steve began asking himself to dance. Barry ran in clutching rebar, suddenly spilling it everywhere. He danced across the rebar. The principal promptly named the dance Barry's dance.
He's a fat kid who's almost fallen down. Lock the doors until everyone does the Barry.
Roger was exposed to radiation in Chernobyl because Francine wouldn't listen to him. Then he evolved. His entire body turned green, signifying he had gained the power of hypnotic speech. Then Francine and Klaus fell asleep.
Wow, I guess life is coming back to Chernobyl.
After Francine and the others woke up, they were also exposed to radiation. Their appearances changed significantly. Klaus stated Roger only had 1 hour left to live. Francine wanted to know how to find Roger. Klaus pointed to the side. There was an entire row of sleeping animals there. Klaus said even if they found Roger, he would hypnotize them. Francine said she had a method. She tore her clothes to block her ears. After blocking her ears, Francine became afraid to walk.
How do deaf people get anywhere?
Suddenly they discovered something. It was actually a tower made of animal corpses. Klaus believed that was Roger's location, and he thought the tower looked quite good. Francine slowly walked towards the top of the tower. Finally they saw Roger. He had become skin and bones. He spotted Francine and the others, then made them fall asleep again, but it was useless now.
Wait, why aren't you asleep?
Francine kept trying to reason with Roger. She began talking to Roger about stories he had told before. Roger hadn't expected Francine to actually listen to what he had said. He was deeply moved. Suddenly Klaus's tail broke off. They needed to return immediately. On the plane back, Francine continued apologizing to Roger. Suddenly they started dancing. Klaus thought they had all gone mad. Unexpectedly, Klaus's tail started talking.
I'm with you, brother. These people are nuts, but I got your back. I am your back.
Stan transformed into Noah. They located Noah's Ark. Haley believed this was merely Stan's delusion. She prepared to leave with Jeff. Unexpectedly, the great flood from Noah's Ark proved real. The floodwaters directly destroyed a city. Haley urgently instructed Stan to pilot the vessel. Earlier that morning, Stan's group had sought Noah's Ark. Francine remarked it looked magnificent and tried to lead Stan away. Stan insisted on boarding the ship. Steve deemed this impossible. Suddenly, a man aboard greeted them, stating he awaited Noah. Everyone stood stunned. The man explained this vessel was built under divine instruction. Stan demanded immediate boarding. The man declared Stan required training. Stan followed staff members away. The man promptly reassured Francine's group. He explained that due to the ship's size, mentally unstable individuals often mistook it for the Ark. They therefore created an experience camp. Participants would simulate surviving the flood and move on. Stan underwent training on a platform, experiencing flood conditions aboard a ship, and herding animals back into pens. Stan considered this excellent. Finally, the simulation concluded. Everyone appeared satisfied. Stan returned to the car, claiming he expelled all fake Noahs. Unexpectedly, Stan knew the camp was fabricated. He charged out of the vehicle and overpowered all guards on the ship. Francine attempted to intervene. Suddenly, Stan noticed Klaus, declaring fish unnecessary on the Ark. He hurled Klaus into the ocean.
You dipshit, there are sharks in there!
Stan abruptly opened a room. It contained actual animals. Steve began questioning his skepticism. Torrential rain suddenly poured outside. Stan's group rushed outdoors. He insisted on immediate departure. Francine and Steve decided to join Stan. Haley initially refused, until witnessing a city's destruction. They then set sail. Suddenly, Klaus surfaced in the ocean and leaped into his fishbowl.
I'll ride out the flood in my own ark. Kiss my ass, Stan, you crazy dickhead!